Welcome back, guys. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you can achieve this cinematic lightning using just your smartphone. So I made this and posted it on my TikTok account, and I got a lot of comments from people saying I should do a tutorial about it. And of course, I teach about pixel lab. You can also achieve this in pixel lab, right? But it's far harder. You have to do a lot of work compared to the software I'm going to introduce to you. Okay, so the name of this software is called Sketchbook on Android. Sketchbook, right? I'll display the logo here so that you can know what the logo looks like. So you can just go to your Play Store and search for Sketchbook. Sketchbook, and you will get it. So if you want to follow along this tutorial, then it will be good that you get the app right now. All right. So this is an image I already collaborated. I got this image from Pinterest. For the sake of this tutorial, I had to do this. So I'll clear off this canvas and we will start from afresh. Now what you have to do is any image you are going to be working on, there will be no background to it. There should be no background. So you have to first of all remove the background of the image before importing it into Sketchbook. So let's just do a rundown of a few things. So let me go ahead and clear off the canvas. So we are just going to start a new sketch. I'm just going to discard current sketch. So this is our canvas here. And of course, I didn't want to go into choosing canvas sizes and all of that. This tutorial is basically about creating the light effect. So this is our workspace here. If you look at this top here, this is the brush. So this is you have different brush here. You have basic, you have markers, you have legacies, you have texture essentials, you have synthetic paint, traditional, fine art, halftone, and many more. Many more, but you might not really need all of them. So depending on what you are doing, depending on what you want to achieve, then you might look for the brush that best suits it. Then on the other side, you can make adjustments like the size, the opacity, and many other things. You can also adjust the pressure, the stamp, and all of those things. So, but for this tutorial, we are just going to be working with a few things. There's no need for most of those. So that's the brush, and here is the color wheel. So you can choose your color, you can drag this to anywhere, and this one determines how light or how dark the color you choose is. So that is that. And then here, okay, we already talked about the brush. So this other, if you look at this icon here, the layer panel. So this is the layer panel. This is where everything we are going to be working on will be in. So if you want to add a new layer, you just tap on this plus sign, tap on it, and a new layer will appear. Now there are two ways to delete a layer. One, you can tap on it and then you come here and see delete. You delete it. Then another way to delete a layer is to long press it and drag it up. You will see this trash bin. Just drop it over it and it will be deleted. Right? So let's go ahead and bring in the image we are going to be using. So to bring in anything into Sketchbook, look at this icon here. We are just going to tap on this icon here and you see different options. There's selection, transform, fill, and a bunch of other tools, but we'll go straight to the import image. Just tap on it. So here there are different other tools, but we'll just focus on the first one, which is the picture icon here, and tap on it. It will take us straight to our gallery. So this is the image which we are going to be working with. Now, if you import image into Sketchbook, it's going to be smaller compared to the original size of the image. So what you just need to do is to pinch down, hold down two of your fingers and scale it upwards to the size which you want the image to be in. Okay, I think this is the highest. This is at 400%, so we're just going to keep it around somewhere like this. Let's just drop it here anyway. We can still adjust it later on. So I'll just come here and click this check box here, this good sign. So from here we can still choose to increase it, can just increase the layer if you don't want the edges of the image to be visible. But let's keep our layer like this. All right, so what is going to happen now is we will start with some lighting effect, and before that I'm going to change the background to complete black so that what we are working with can be very, very visible. So to change anything, to start working with your layers, you just have to tap over it. Just tap it. When you tap it, you can see different tools that will appear. From there, you can go to color. From there, you can go to the brush. Select your brush, and if there's a need to adjust certain things, you do that from there. Then you can go back by clicking on this cancel button here. So I'll tap on this background and I'm just going to drag this slider down until it's black. So we are going to be working with a black background. Right, let me delete this. So we'll start by adding a new layer. This is a new layer here. So what is going to happen is I'll tap on this layer and I'll come to this color wheel, tap on this color. So the color we are going to be working with, which we'll use as the cinematic light, is red. So red is already selected here, and I'll go to the brush. I'll go to the brush side, and this is the brush which I actually use, flow airbrush. So I'll just go over to this side and just do some adjustments. Let me leave the size at 35 and the opacity at 50. Let me just leave it at 50. Of course, you can choose to leave it at 100 and after everything you can still reuse it. But I'm just going to leave it at 50. Alright, so with that, okay, what is going to happen is we'll first of all determine where the light is coming from. That will give us an idea of how we are going to position our lighting, right? Because even in real life, when light hits on you, it comes from a direction, it comes from an angle. So we'll, I'll go click on this and I'm going to take the brush until it's up to 500, the max, and I'm also going to increase the opacity to 100. Just going to tap and clear this. So what you're just going to do is you put your hand on the canvas and just drag you can drag straight or you can drag to any other way. Okay, this is quite I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this quickly. Let me add. I think we already have, yeah, okay, we already have that. So just click and drag. As you can see. So what we are doing is we are trying to create a light source, right? We want to create a light source. So I'll come over to this layer panel here, and I'm going to drag this below the image that we have. As you can see that we already have a light source. So I can just go over and paint it the more. So from what we have, this is the angle that our light is coming from. Is also going to determine where we will paint in the picture, where we will paint on the model that we have. So what is going to happen is I'll click on this and come to duplicate here and duplicate it. Then I'm going to drag this over the image. So we'll start by adjusting the opacity. Just tap on it. Then here is the opacity. You can reduce it until you have something that's okay. Not too much, not too little, but want it to reflect on the character that we have. Okay, let me say 30 is fine, not bad. 30 is not bad. All right. So what is going to happen again is we'll go ahead and add another layer, right? So on this layer, we'll reduce the brush size. We'll reduce it to say, let me reduce it to 30 and the opacity to 50. Let me leave it at 50. Then I'll start painting over this model, this image here. So I'm just going to paint over it like this. As you can see, I'm just tracing the lines. I'm just tracing the lines. Let me increase the brush. Let me increase the brush to say 45. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Okay, this is fine. So I'm just going to trace over this image like this, because this is the angle that our light is coming from. So we can't just come and start coloring anywhere, because this is where the light is coming from behind. Then it will reflect from the back and also affect part of the neck, something like this. So I'll just color on it like this, color on it, color on it. Then what is going to happen is I'll come to this layer, tap on it, and then I will start adjusting the opacity. So I'm going to look for the one that is okay, the opacity level. Let's see if 70 is good. Then what is going to happen is I'll click on this, tap on the layer again, and then come to blending. Where you see blending here, tap on it and come to overlay. So what this overlay will do is that it will clip the lightning, the painting we did on this image. It will clip it to the image instead of the background canvas that you have. So we can go ahead and increase the opacity again, and we're already having a reflection, as you can see so far. We already have a reflection. So we'll go ahead and add another layer. And on this one, I'll just go ahead and start painting. But before then, let's just adjust the brush a little bit. Let me take it to 50. 50 like this. I'm just going to increase. So I'm just going to draw over the image like this. I'm just going to do this. So we are going to mimic the reflection of the red lights. Okay. So let's do this. I'm just going to paint this. Paint this. I'm going to paint it under the jaw line like this, as where the light will also be coming from. Then I'm just going to trace this the hair like this. I'm going to trace it like this from the back instead of painting everything together. Just going to trace the hair. Just going to trace it. Just going to trace it like this. I'm going to trace it, and also over the ear. So something like this. Something like this. Then we'll come again to this layer, tap on it and go to blending, then choose overlay again, and you see that the image, the painting we did has been clipped. So some of those parts that we drew outside of this image, the person here, see that they've disappeared. So we'll come to opacity and we'll start adjusting it to give off that reflection. So let's leave it here because we are going to add one more layer. So let's just add layer, and we are going to use this layer as the glow. So before we do anything, tap on the layer and go to blending. This time around we are just going to choose soft glow. Then we'll come back and paint again over the image. Just paint on it, not too much, but just do that little by little. So I'm just going to trace the hair. Trace the hair. I'm going to trace the jawline. Trace this. Then we'll come to this other side, which is the hair here. And we're also going to trace over it. Just trace over it like this. Just going to trace over it. Then do it for this part also. Do it for this part. Then we'll come here and start working on the opacity. Working on the opacity. Let's look at that. Okay, we are getting some reflection already. That's good. So this first layer, the layer here that we duplicated from the background, we'll just go over it and work on the opacity a little bit. Maybe we'll increase it by little. 35. Let's see how that is. Not bad, not bad. So we'll go ahead and create a dual lightning. All right. So what we have here is from the back is red. So we want something else reflecting from the front side. So we'll add another layer again. Just add your layer. Make sure sometimes if you add the layer like you see, if you add the layer, you find out that it will appear randomly. So you need to tap on it and drag it upwards. So I'll come here and I'll choose a yellow color. I'll choose yellow and I'll come to my brush size and increase it to max. Then I'll start painting over here. So we also want to have the impression that the light we want is coming from this angle. The light we want is coming from this angle. Don't worry, we'll adjust that. So let's just do something like this. So with that, we'll click on it, then drag this one below the image. So want it to be behind, right? Then tap on it again and come to duplicate. So duplicate it. Then we will take this one above the image, the one that we duplicated, and then tap on it and start working on the opacity. So something like this, let's say 35. So for this yellow side, we might not even need to start all those drawing again. You see that? So let's just let me reduce the size of the brush. We are just going to do a little painting over it, just to keep up with what we did with the red side. So I'm just going to trace the neck part like this. Just trace over it. Trace over it like this. Since that is where the light is coming from, we are going to mimic that direction. Trace over the chin and give the impression that the light is coming from this direction. All right. So let's okay. Let me see if let's leave it at this. Let's leave it as the 35. So what is going to happen is I'll add, this should be the last layer that we are going to add. So I'll tap on this time around. We want to change our brush, so we have been using the flow air brush, right? So let's go down and look for something glowing. So here are different brushes and they are mainly for creating glows. So let's go ahead and reduce the size to 35. The flow, we don't want it to come out too much, so we'll reduce the flow to 15. Let's leave it at 15. Then I'll just come and paint over this image. I'm just going to paste over okay, I think this is still too much. Think the flow is still too much. Let me take it to 10, say 10. Okay, 5. Let me leave it at 5. I'm just going to trace over here like I did in the first one. So what we are acting is the glow We are now using the glue brush, and we are also going to trace over the hair here, so that's also give it the impression that the light is reflecting on the hair. So, like always, we will change the blending to overlay, and we will start adjusting the opacity. So the opacity is how bright or how transparent the light is going to be. So let's 30, I think 30 is okay. So if we look at the overall image, here is what we have. And of course, if you're creating your own, you can go around, you can go about filling up the whole space. Half can be yellow, the other part can be red. But for demonstration purpose, I just had to paste these things like this. So this is how I was able to achieve this very image. And if we choose to go back, we can remove all this lighting and you will see what the original image looks like without any of those lights that we created. So here is the original image, and then when we go ahead, you start finding out that the beauty start coming out. So so this is it. So the name of the app is Sketchbook. Sketchbook is the name of the app. You can get it on Google Play Store. I don't know, but it should be on iPhone too, right? So this is how, and I believe this tutorial was quite easy, but if it was not easy for you, you can follow through, you can rewatch it as many times as you want, and I'll always be happy to help out if you encounter any problem. Now what is going to happen is, what if you want to export this image out of this software? Now here's what is going to happen. This is the background. As you can see, we created this background here as a demonstration of where the light is coming from, right? It's a demonstration. So what is going to happen is, now when we hide the background lights, as you can see, we don't have that background again, but the ones we duplicated and brought over, you can still see their traces. So what is going to happen is, the ones above the image, will tap on them and change the blending to overlay so that it can clip to the image. So we'll go ahead and change them from normal to overlay. Now this is what you have here. Can you see that? So you can go ahead and export this image. When you export it in the software you want to use for designing, maybe Pixel Lab, because of people using Photoshop, they can do this pretty simple right there in Photoshop. So if you add this in Pixel Lab, what you just have to do is to add a background glow effect, that can give you the feeling that, just like this, you can do something like this in Pixel Lab. Once you import your image, you add a red circle, right? I think I will do a tutorial on that, on how to achieve that, where you can also give the impression of where light is coming from. And as you can see, you can also duplicate it over the image, just like this one, and you'll be able to get the same result. So if you want to export, you need to hide the backgrounds and then change the ones we duplicated over the image, change them to overlay so that they can clip to the character, and then you can export from there. When you bring it to your software of choice, you can also add those background lights and give the impression to be reflecting on the image. Now, how do you save your image to your gallery? Come up to this icon here, tap on it, and there are a bunch of different options. There's save here, there's share or export. So we just click on the save button, and then you see save current sketch. Just tap on it. Just a little while and your sketch will be saved. So it has been saved now. If you go to your gallery, you can see it. Once you go to your gallery, you'll be able to see the image. All you just have to do is to remove the background, follow what I said, and you'll be able to, yeah, to get the same result. So if you find this tutorial very helpful, please don't forget to drop a comment, and if there's anything that is still hard for you to understand, I'll be able to help. See you guys later. And if this is your first time watching my video, please don't forget to subscribe if you're seeing it on YouTube. If you're seeing it on any other social media platform, don't forget to follow. All right.